Hello and welcome to Losing the 50. Today we are joined with fellow co-host Average Luck Gamer,
Hi.
Shanaha,
What up?
and we have a special guest. We wanted to have him on months ago, but busy schedules, but we finally got Jshoea on. How you doing, Jshoea?
What's good, gang? Hey, how's everybody doing?
Yeah, we're doing good, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Dude, I mean, like before we started the recording, I was talking about how I was telling, my whole origin story. So, it's kind of hard to tell it twice in a row, but yeah, I
When a man and a
mean,
woman love each other. That's how it all started.
no, yeah, I mean, the Big Bang, just like, no, okay, not to get too sidetracked. Hi, everybody, my name is Josh. I am another little Zenless Zone Zero creator, just swimming around the pond of little gooners and gooblets. And yeah, I just like chatting about Zenless Zone Zero, making some fun little collab content, stuff like that, and gonna kick it with these fine gentlemen.
Oh yeah, we
Heck yeah.
appreciate you having me on, man. It's great. Hey, we're gonna go ahead and cut to the chase and get started. Hey, Shanaha, you want to get us started on the first topic?
Dude, okay, so, I mean, I'm probably the worst one to ask because I don't really care about her, but what do we think of Astra?
Whoa. I think we need to back
Whoa.
up and find out why you don't care
Whoa,
about Astra.
Well, it's not that I don't care about Astra, but like, Evelyn. Like, if you have to choose, like, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, here's the thing though, right? I think with Astra, okay, so we're gonna get onto like the Astra versus Evelyn conversation, obviously, at some point. But I think with Astra, because she's gonna be our first limited S rank support, I've got a feeling that she's gonna be the ultimate waifu enabler. I.e., you're gonna be able to run all of your waifu teams with Astra. But Evelyn, she's just one waifu. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what? A man sticks true to his waifu no matter what.
His
You
one and
know,
only.
I respect it, bro. I really do, Shanaha. But like, I'm gonna side with Astra, even though I love Evelyn. Absolutely love Evelyn. She looks like Saber from Fate. But I just think Astra is also just as good of a waifu, and she's also gonna make my team stronger. So I'm gonna side with Astra on this one. I can't wait for it.
Whoa, yo, Evelyn is the team though. You know what
My
I'm saying?
man.
That Evelyn
Mm.
is the team.
No, she's one of
Um,
the teams. She's one of the teams,
nah, she
and
could
you
be
know,
everything. She's our everything. To
She
play,
is.
to play both sides as the guest, right? I think, um, like Asher Yao brings so much to the table, and we're gonna get to that in a little bit, hopefully. But as a part of the waifu conversation, I think these two are probably like the strongest 1-2 punch we've gone in Zenless Zone Zero, if I'm not correct.
Yeah, because like I
Yeah,
mean,
probably.
even before like their launch, like in the game, because obviously there was that little bit at the end of the 1.4 story. They had that little like tidbit where they show up and like they go like what's it called? Astra goes out on a quote unquote date with you. Evelyn shows up as well, and she's super thankful. Like I don't think anybody's had that sort of like affection pandering to us yet in the story in the game.
Nah, they got real parasocial with that one. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Jump straight to it. But yeah, I think that Astra brings so much to the table in terms of team building and potential that I think it's impossible to ignore. And it's kind of like Kete said, like she is also super cute. Like, come on, like it's not, like it's not like she's a disgusting old hag. Oh my god, what am I talking about? I don't know.
Whoa.
Wow, whoa, objectifying.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa,
It's
whoa, 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 whoa,
2025,
whoa.
guys.
2025. But yeah, like, yeah, I think that she's going to end up being really good. And obviously, we don't know exact multipliers and stuff like that, but it depends on how big her buff is as to, I guess, how big she's going to be. But enabling like additional quick assists after her ultimate and the big attack buff that she brings, plus healing, which is going to be great for sustain for like the new tower mode and stuff. I don't know, man. I think she's the whole package in terms of a support.
I mean, like
I,
just looking off of previous Hoyo games, it's all like she's the first limited support. She's also an ether character, which we haven't gotten in a while. So like, she's gonna be like special. Like it's almost the equivalent of how Miyabi was, the Void Hunter Frost Anomaly, but it's just like a different spin on it. She's not a Void Hunter, but she's a support unit, which is probably gonna be just as rare.
Yeah, yeah. Based on what we've seen so far, they seem to love doing attack characters. No, and by attack characters, I mean DPSs, not actually attack characters. I mean anomaly characters and attack characters who are DPSs. So yeah, like having this as our support. I don't know, man. I think that she's going to be like really meta impactful. What do you think, Kete?
Well, she's gonna have longevity, right?
Yeah,
And Astra's the type of character that makes your favorites shine. So even if you're not that big on Astra, I think you gotta look at it in the sense of if you get Astra, she can make almost all of your favorite DPS just raise them to a new level, right? And I'm pretty sure most people like it when their favorites are performing at their best potential. So she's a character where I think it's perfectly fine to go for Evelyn over her if you don't have enough polychrome, because obviously waifu over meta. I understand that. But if you have enough pulls to get Evelyn and Astra, if you did want Evelyn, then I do think she's absolutely worth picking up. And if you're not interested in Evelyn, then I highly think that Astra is worth picking up. Unless there's another support coming out in 1.6. But honestly, they did Miyabi's drip marketing after the patch had already dropped and most players had already pulled in 1.3 for
Yanagi.
wait, was it 1.3? Yeah, for Yanagi
Yeah.
and Lighter. Like they did Miyabi's drip marketing late, right? So who's to say they won't do it again in 1.6? Like they'll do it late. Like people have already pulled. So maybe you want to hold off. Maybe if you're on the fence of getting Astra, maybe it's actually smart to just make sure you know what's coming in 1.6 first before you waste your polychromes. That way you don't be disappointed. But she's going to be a very valuable unit for a very long time, in my opinion.
Let's go. I think with the way that I make content, I'm a little bit concerned about which one I'm going to pick. Because it's kind of like, yeah, I feel like I'm in a situation where it's kind of like Kete said, she's going to be really good. She's going to be really good in the future, probably as well. And then it kind of leaves me in a bit of a sticky situation where obviously I think that Evelyn is, she is waifu. But Astra is also super cool and is going to be very meta, and it means that I can play her, even suboptimally. Like, I think that she'll be really useful on like attacker style teams, like, maybe even on a Juyuan team or something like that, as well as the fact that she's going to be, like incredibly useful with anomaly teams, like on a Miyabi Yanagi team as well. I think she's the ultimate waifu enabler, which means I think I'm still thinking on it, but I think if I could only choose
Just get
one,
both.
yeah, I think if I could only choose one, I'd get Astra. But I might be flexing my rule of only getting one character per patch. We'll see.
No, for gamer, we talk every single day. Tell the truth.
What do you mean?
Tell
Tell
the
the
truth.
truth.
Tell the truth. You know you want both.
I know.
You know you want
I
both.
do. Like I 100% do want both. And guys, we just had a whole patch, like a whole 35 days to save, and you should have already saved for Miyabi. That's what I'm saying. I think a lot of free-to-play low-spend players, though, are still in the same position where they only get like one character per patch, and they have to plan that
Mhm.
pull. And I think if that's the case, and that's you're listening to this, I think even if you really like Evelyn, maybe she waits for the rerun, man. Get Astra and just make sure that you kind of bring up the level of all of your teams, particularly if you skipped like the other most valuable support, which is Caesar, which is exactly what I did. I skipped Caesar so I could get, waifu Jane, and now I kind of regret that decision. Not getting Jane, obviously, but like not getting Caesar, and yeah, I kind of don't want to make that mistake again. So
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that brings up the conversation, right? Just from the value perspective, right? We take a look at quote meta, Yet meta is twofold, and you know, I've kind of gone the record of like explaining like my kind of dissection on meta. It's twofold, right? There is the characters that are relevant, yet there's characters that are relevant within the context of your subjective situation, right? Or whatever the um, game state is in particular. So when it comes to 1.5, you're going to be hard pressed not to see a bunch of fire units just, you know, being promoted out the wazoo because of the presence of Evelyn, right? But yet, in the overarching and grand scheme of it, when you look at it from like the 6 months, the 12 months, Jane Doe is going to be a much smaller contributor to the game than when you take a look at your Caesar Kings, like you mentioned before, right? Just a powerhouse of a generalized overarching support character. And then we're coming into 1.5 now with a character who could potentially rival that just in a different, you know, just in a different way with healing in the sustain versus just shielding. So, you know, playing devil's advocate, I love Evelyn. I'm definitely pulling on both of them. Yet, I think when it comes to the F2P or low budget spender XYZ conversation, I think you could probably still just get both of them without W Engine if you can scrounge out, you know, the latter half of 1.4, you know, scrape everything in 1.5. You could go for both of them. F2P, they have great options for both, right? In terms of their W engines and stuff like that. And you could actually perform extremely well for the near future. So that's just
Get lucky.
my perspective.
Just get lucky when the
You got
50/50
yeah,
just
you
get
do
lucky.
got to get a
Just
little
get
lucky
lucky.
too. Yeah.
I think the issue though, going like I agree with you, Jshoea. I agree with you. I do think that some people actually could potentially get both, even if they're F2P or low spender. But I can only speak from my community. I know a big reason why a lot of people in my community don't want to try for both is because there's other things that people were extremely excited for, similar to Miyabi, right? Miyabi was extremely like hyped up. A lot of people wanted her, right? They knew she was coming. There's other things that people know are eventually coming, but we don't know when, and people are kind of scared. Like, I don't want to dump all my polychrome, then have nothing, because what if Oboe Squad comes? What if Idol Squad comes? Like, those are two factions that people are just been waiting for a very long time, and you don't want to dump everything and then Hoyoverse be like, oh, by the way, Oboe Squad's next. You know,
Yeah.
that would really suck. You know, so I think that's the issue as well.
Yeah, and I think that's especially a potential with this particular situation as well, because we're getting the first of our Stars of Lyra characters now in 1.5, but it's only 2, and we don't know about any other Stars of Lyra characters.
And they're both S ranks as well.
And they're
so
both S ranks, yeah. So like if you wanted to enable like I think it was announced on the live stream, we had the little Bangbu guy, you know, Snap.
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
him? Yeah. You know, like, and you wanted to make sure you were running like 2 Stars of Lyra characters, then you have to get both of them. You know, like it's not really an option if you wanted to run like a Stars of Lyra team. And it's kind of like you said, Ketik, we don't know what's coming next. Like, we could take a break from Stars of Lyra in 1.6 and move to the Idol faction or the what was the other one you said?
Obol.
Obol, yeah, of course, Obol. Sorry, yeah, we could take a break.
Everyone always forgets Soldier 11 and her team. Tisk, tisk, tisk.
I know, but we could take a break from the Stars of Lyra for a bit in 1.6, and then the Stars of Lyra could come back around in 1.7, which means that you could end up in a situation where maybe you start to invest now in the Stars of Lyra and get Evelyn and Astra. You bank some polychrome, you get both of them, and then as a Soldier 11 main, you know, Obol Squad starts dropping in 1.6, and you're like, oh no, I've made a mistake. I've dropped a clanger here, boys. Yeah, I guess it's just a tricky situation, especially the fact as well that like with all of the other factions, we already knew who was going to be in them. in the one patch so far. You know, like the Sons of Kaladin, Section 6. Like we kind of met them or saw them like in that initial trailer with all of the character stuff. Whereas right now, we literally only know about Astra and Evelyn. So like if your favorite future character that comes in like 1.6, 1.7, 1.8 or whatever is a Stars of Lyra character and you didn't get Astra, for example, then you could be screwing yourself over. I think, to be honest, this is the most like blind investment situation that we've been in so far because we don't know who else is in the faction at this point. Whereas with the others, by the time we were pulling for them, we knew everyone who was in the faction.
Yeah, I totally agree. They're definitely gonna make more Stars of Lyra. It's just will they do it in 1.6 or will there be a break? Like you
Yeah.
said, we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just don't know.
I guess there's also the question mark of we don't know the A ranks. Did they announce the A ranks for the banners?
Yeah.
No.
No.
They didn't?
Not yet.
Oh, you mean the airings on the banners?
Yeah.
Don't believe so. Unless Kate wants to have one of their dreams again, but I don't know.
I think they did
I
officially announce
literally
it.
because I missed the live stream, so I had to watch the little short, like it was like 9
don't believe
minute
so.
recap, and so I just Googled it, like what are the banners for 1.5, and Google literally has it.
Yeah, I think
Is
one
it
of
a
them was
leak
like
if I
Andy Piper or something.
yeah? Is
No,
it
it's-
a
it's-
leak
Oh,
if
is
I
it?
say it? It's
Oh,
literally on
okay.
Google.
Yeah, they
I mean,
posted it on the Hoya Lab.
when is this pod coming out? You know.
Probably later today. Later today for my time because it's morning here. But it'll take me a couple of hours to get it out. But anyway, it doesn't matter. What was I talking about? Yeah. Anyway, I was gonna say we don't really know the A ranks, so there is a chance that we could get a Stars of Lyra A rank, so that there's like a 3-piece for the Stars of Lyra.
Oh no, they
now.
would have. No. They
But
would
they
have
would've
announced. They would have
announced.
announced.
Yeah, they would have
Yeah.
announced
There's,
that.
yeah.
No, there's
Exactly.
not no A rank.
It's the returners. Yeah. Most
Posting
likely.
them in here.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, Shanna.
So this is a bit interesting. So I will say on the Hoya Lab website where they have like the banners and stuff like that, obviously it says, you know, Signal Search Event Phase 1, Astriel, and then also Ellen as a rerun. And then it has Ambi and Corin there, but it just has those two for like both the banners. So I don't know if it's going to be like Ambi, Corin for as the A ranks on both banners. And then for the next one, Phase 2, it's Anton and Nicole.
Anton and Nicole. Oh, okay.
Ah.
I think Nicole's great, guys.
Yeah.
Nicole is great, and she's on.
If you don't get
Nicole
Astra,
is
there's your
solid.
consolation prize. Yeah.
Yeah, she's on Evelyn's banner.
Oh yeah, I guess so. If you skip Astra, at least you might be able to
You
get a
can- yeah.
decent Mindscape Nicole. That's actually pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah, but you know, back to Astra Yao, I think it as so far as what we've seen and you know the generalized dissection of her kit, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to be more that she's like a support that's ether versus an ether support,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So no, yeah, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
think it
No,
matters
no.
that much that she's ether. It doesn't seem like she's buffing ether. It seems like she's
Exactly.
She buffs
Yeah.
attack, she buffs crit damage, I think, as well, and she does the heal and other stuff as well. So yeah, just like a generalized support. Again, kind of like Caesar. Like in terms of that flat attack buff and the shield and the interruption resistance, like it feels like she's going to be a support who happens to be ether as opposed to like buffing ether. Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. So like that value, not only is she going to be able to, you know, function with other ether units, but that generalized factor. Whereas Nicole, I mean, unless we get a new Cutting Hairs, you know, she's somewhat relegated to being more specifically an ether, you know, support and or just being paired with an Ambi, I guess, if you want to put it that way. But
Yeah, she
I
does
don't-
offer quite
I
a
don't
lot
really-
as well. Yeah, go on, Kathy.
No, I understand what you're saying. He's not wrong. Like, right? Like, she does give the ether damage bonus. She does work best in ether teams. Jshoea is absolutely right about that. But they messed up with Nicole. She's so fucking strong, bro.
no, yeah.
You just put her on
she's
any team.
pretty strong.
You just put her on any team, and she's right now she's the best support in the game. You just put her on any team and you're gonna get amazing results from her. Like they made her too strong. So she's they wanted her to be an ether support, but she ended up becoming extremely universal. But you're right, she does work best for ether teams. You're absolutely right.
And I think that's particularly more true at higher mindscapes as well, because you get like that. I think it's at M6 where you get like just a crit rate buff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Plus you get
Right.
grouping as well, which is pretty limited in the game so far, because you can kind of use her suck to bring them in. But yeah, I don't know. Like I think Nicole being on the second half kind of means that if you don't have an M6 Nicole, it kind of bumps the value of Evelyn a little bit if you were leaning that direction anyway. But I don't think it necessarily should make your mind up, you know? But I think she's definitely the best A rank of those four.
Fair. Yeah.
Channel,
You're not a fan of Anton? I
uh,
guarantee.
Yeah,
you're
where are
you're
my
saying this-
Corrin gamers at? Oh,
You're saying this that like, oh guys, just go for Nicole, get her M6. Everyone's gonna get Anton. I guarantee it.
I'm not saying go
You're
for
gonna get,
her.
like-
I'm just saying like
I know,
the
but
fact
I'm
that
just
she's
saying,
there
like,
is better. Go on.
You're gonna get like an M20 Anton, and you're not gonna get any Nicoles. I can tell you this now.
Oh mate, I can't remember what was the first banner that Anton was on. Was it G1's or was it Ellen's? I can't remember. It was in the first patch though. But I remember I got him at M6 within like 50 pulls, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Still barely used him. Okay. I know we've been focusing a little bit on Astra. Are we kind of done with our Astra thoughts? Should we move on to talking more specifically about Evelyn? I know we've been comparing them a lot though. What do we think?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, what do you think about Evelyn?
I was thinking about Flossin. As another content creator, we need to eventually get on Flossin. He's a Soldier 11 main.
Yeah.
Man, every time I talk to him, he's like, "I don't care, man. A Soldier 11 will never be replaced in my heart."
Yeah. I remember we were playing Marvel Rivals with him, and I tried to kind of bring it up, and he was just like, it seemed like he didn't want to talk about it.
He didn't want to talk about it.
But yeah, bless him. Yeah, Soldier 11. The thing is, though, I think Soldier 11 will still have a place, but
Yeah, she's not.
go on.
No, I wasn't trying to interrupt you. My bad. I was just saying, yeah, she's not bad.
Yeah, and her kit scaling is actually pretty decent. I think she's got like the biggest multiplier of anyone other than Miyabi for ultimate and stuff. She's pretty good, and if you can get her timing down, so you can get the fire, as in if you've like invested time into learning how to play Soldier 11, I think she's still going to be grand. And I think as well, you're going to benefit from the fact that there's going to be a whole bunch of fire weakness on the next few rotations of Deadly Assault and Shield defense and stuff. So I think if you're a Soldier 11 main and you're secretly kind of pissed that Evelyn's coming in as a fire attack character and power creeping your main, I think you're still going to be fine. I don't think that Evelyn's kit is going to be as broken good as Miyabi's. So I kind of think that she's going to be more in line with the other limited S rank agents, because otherwise, like, what are we even doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, what is the point of rerunning Ellen if,
Skins.
No, it's just coverage, man. It's legit just coverage.
It's coverage.
IMO.
It's just disappointing. Yeah, like I can see why it's disappointing though for all of the Soldier 11 mains who enjoy their fire attack character. Why couldn't we have an attack character who is like a different element? Yeah, it's a good question, man. I don't know. I think we kind of got our bases covered though at this point in terms of attack characters, right? Because we just got Haramasa for electric.
Are we talking about limited or just S rank attackers in
Just
general?
general S rank attackers.
Oh, yeah, then we have every element covered. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yukamato for physical, Haramasa electric, Jshoea and ether.
We're missing a physical attack.
Ellen is ultra. Nakamata.
No, limited.
Oh, limited.
limited.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes sense though that eventually maybe we do get a physical attack agent that power creeps Nekomata before we start. Not power creeps Nekomata, but that kind of like takes over the mantle of probably like the premium physical attack agent from Nekomata before we start going to the same roles that we've already got limited units on. So yeah. Kind of makes sense. But Evelyn in general, though, guys, I feel like we're talking like about her, like where she's going to stack up a little bit there. But what do we think about the way that she works and stuff? She's got that garrote thing. She's going to enable herself
Well,
to do
more
chain attacks on her
importantly,
own. Yeah, go on.
canonically, this is like, as an actual fact, you see it in game. She gets stronger the more she undresses. When she ults, she literally takes her jacket off, and you see that in the model. When you start off combat, she wears her jacket. As soon as you ultimate, that jacket stays off
True. And then she gets
Mhm.
one stack towards the chain attack thing that
permanently.
she
Yeah.
does. Yeah, which is also like a very cool mechanic. And I hope we see more stuff of that heading forward.
I will say, the whole chain attack thing. I was so glad that I sort of like predicted this, because I remember like way back when I was saying the only thing they haven't really like adapted on yet is the whole chain attack mechanic, and then lo and behold that. But the only issue is, I wish that, I don't know if they would do it. I wish they could like retroactively buff Collida by changing her team passive so that it's not just increasing chain attack damage when they're stunned, but just increasing chain attack like flat out. Because now you have like this really cool buff that is so tight specific. Because I mean, we always used to think chain attacks are when you stun them, but now
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I can just chain attack whenever now. If only that buff from Collida would be active then.
Yeah, I I can't remember what it says on Collider's thing.
I think it's a 35% chain attack bonus
Yeah,
when they're
it
stunned.
stacks up to twice. So
Or
can
is
be
it
like
only when they're
70.
stunned?
I didn't know it
Only
was
when
only
they're stunned, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's only when they're
cool.
stunned. So it's and Evelyn's gonna do a lot of chain attacks outside of stun. So
Outside
Yeah.
of stun, yeah.
Kaleda's not buffing that.
Oh, I was really hoping that Kalita was going to be
Unfortunate.
good. Yeah.
Hey, rip to our Kaleda, listeners. Sorry, guys. Hey.
I think she'll still be good though, actually, with Evelyn, I imagine. But yeah, maybe not quite as good as it would initially seem because, yeah, like we've already mentioned,
Like,
Evelyn's going to enable
just
chain attacks
imagine,
herself.
yeah, imagine how powerful this sounds if it weren't for the stun part. Blah, 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 blah. While the target is stunned, so imagine this isn't there, all squad members' chain attacks deal 35% more damage to the target. This effect can stack up to 2 times and resets when the stunned effect ends. Imagine if that were just like a timer and like a 10-second buff, and you can just get that up to 70% damage bonus whenever.
Yeah.
That
It
would be
would
fire.
it would make her more competitive for sure. It would make her a little bit closer to Lighter, because like right now like Lighter with Evelyn, because like you don't even have to look at stuff, like just look at Lighter's kit. He can buff damage outside of stun and in stun, so his buffs are applying to all of Evelyn's chain attacks, whether the enemies are stunned or not. So like that's why it's gonna be such a big gap. If only, like you said, Kaleda's buff was outside of stun too, it wouldn't be as big of a gap.
I guess arguably, like this is like early theory crafting now, I guess, for Collida, but like in theory, what you could do is you could stun them, obviously.
Yeah.
And then you just dump out all of those extra chain attacks with Evelyn anyway, just specifically during the stun. But then she turns into the whole, like, the like a Shuyan type of stun window character, which I feel like they were trying to pivot away from with this, or they've been trying to pivot away from, where you can just like constantly have the attacker, be attacking as opposed to just bench warming until they're stunned.
Yeah, it's kind of like you said. Yeah, like we'll still get that stun window, and we can just save her additional chain attack thing for that point. But it seems like, particularly after she's altered, when you only have to get the 2 stacks, she's probably going to get it back pretty quickly. So if you save that for the stun window, you might end up in a position where you're kind of giving up damage to make sure that you're like putting it in the stun window, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of like, when you want to save Juyuan's ultimate for the stun window. Except
Yeah.
obviously that's like a bigger thing. But because like Evelyn is in theory going to get that little chain attack thing back so much quicker, then yeah, you can drop it in. Sorry. I'm getting distracted. Yeah. Anyway. Maybe Kalida. If you don't have lighter, maybe Kalida can still work, guys. Yeah.
No. You know what it is? It's Lucy. It's just Lucy. Lucy's the truth.
Oh, that is also true, but
Ah.
that's
Yeah.
also not true though, because we actually wanted to talk about reruns here soon. I don't know how much more we're going to talk about Evelyn, guys, if you have something else to say. But there is another stunner that is universal, and that's Shingi.
Here's
She's
the
a
thing,
very
though.
universal.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I think Chingy on this banner, the reason they put her here, right, is because they're baiting. They want people to pull for Chingy, but Chingy is actually not the best stun agent for the DPS agents that are on this, like this 1.5 patch. So it's kind of like you said, Kete. She is universally good. She is universally definitely better than Anby, right? But
I mean, everyone's better than Ambi.
leave Beskar alone. Anyway, but yeah, like she's not going to be best with Evelyn. It's it's almost definitely going to be lighter, even before we've seen specific stuff. Because she's going to buff the fire damage, and then with who's in the first half? Ellen. Yeah, I mean, sure. Again, we're going to buff the damage in that stun window with Chingy, but again, lighter is going to be the preferred stun agent, or actually maybe even Lycan. Is Lycan better than Chingy for Ellen?
No.
No.
I have Shingi and
Comparable.
Lycan for my Ellen, and Shingi buffs her more.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you have Lycan,
what is it? The 250% is insane. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you have Lycan and you want to pull Ellen, that's fine. Yeah, you'll be totally fine with that. It's not like you need Chingy, but I guess the reason that Chingy is here is because she's a bait, right? Because they want you to pull Chingy and then ultimately bench her when Lighter comes back, because Lighter will be better with Ellen and Evelyn.
Oh, I want to talk about the reruns, but do we have anything else for Evelyn before we go to reruns?
I think
we're gonna have to see a little bit more from her before I can kind of make like a final verdict. But I mean, I feel like all the comparisons are pretty standard when it comes to someone who covers like the same archetype literally of a character that we've already had, and then doesn't necessarily, again, type wise, bring anything new to the table. Of course, her mechanics are going to be different. Her aesthetic is very out of this world, but when it comes to X's and O's, I feel as though we've kind of covered everything that she can do in this game state. Yeah.
Well, then I want to actually start with Shingi, if you don't mind, guys.
Let's go.
Because I have a lot of experience with her. I've had her since day one. I've used her on stream with 4-star engines and her signature, and just testing for months now. I've been a Shingi defender for a very long time, and I confidently believe she's the best stunner in the game. And I'm a lighter simp, so I'm not being biased when I say that. I do think she's absolutely the best stunner in the game, and because she's universal. In the teams that lighter is better than her, she's only a few percentage behind. It's not a big gap at all. Like, lighter is better than her in fire and ice team specifically. Yes, that is correct. But it's never a massive gap. And then those are the only two teams that he's better than her in. She's better every single where else. So, like, in my opinion, she's by far the best stunner in the game. Yeah, you're right, AOG. She's not the best for Evelyn, but she's not far behind, and she's still going to perform amazing for Evelyn. She's not the best for Ellen. I use Shingi with Ellen. I still get great clears. Yeah. So it's like, what do you prefer like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, how universal she is? Because I do. Is like, I don't know if players would actually bench their Shingi. Is like, maybe there is an option in the future that's like, a ether stunner, or like a physical stunner that's like specifically better in physical or ether teams. But the fact that Shingi's never gonna be too far behind and she just works, I think she actually does have value.
Yeah, I'm not saying she doesn't have value. I just think that putting her here now, because remember, like, she wasn't on that 1.0 patch with Ellen initially, and but like, I can see why they moved Ju Yuan out of this patch, right? Because if Ju Yuan was in this patch, we'd have 3 attack characters, which is kind of insane. But to move Qingyi in as who was the next character, I think after the 1.0, she was the first 1.1 character. I think the reason why they've decided to do that is because she's she's good. She's good with all of these characters. It's kind of like you said, Kete. Like, yeah, she might not be their best in slot, but it's not that far behind. And I think it's a bit of a bait for players, so that players kind of pick up Chingy and then are like, oh, I got this universal stun agent. She's going to be great with my Ellen or my Evelyn, all good. And then when Lighter's rerun comes around, they end up picking up Lighter as well, and then they can move Chingy to a different team. It's not that Chingy's not going to get used, I guess, but I think that putting her in this patch specifically is a bit of a bait to try and get players to pull for her, even though she's not necessarily the best support, not the best stun agent, but she is like universal, you know?
Then
I
I would
mean,
actually like to ask. Oh no, go ahead, Shauna. Go.
I was just gonna ask a quick question, like about the whole people pulling for Chingy. So, Kete, I know you have both Ellen and Chingy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then Jshoea and Gamer, do you guys have both of them? Because I feel like personally I don't have either, and I'm wondering if because Ellen was the first agent ever, or like on the very first banner, I feel like not a lot of people have her. And then Chingy also, because she was between Shuyen and Jane, which I feel like many people wanted instead, I feel like these two might be one of the lowest like acquired characters because of how early they were and also like the circumstances. So I don't know. Do you two have them?
No, I don't have either of them. And yeah, I think there is some truth to that. I think in terms of the rerun, though, I think a lot of players played Zenless at the beginning and then dropped off, and then they might have come back now because of Miyabi and that. So I think that a lot of accounts will probably have Ellen on it for the players who are still playing the game, but you're right. Like, there will also be a lot of players who potentially just joined the game, because of Miyabi, or because they thought that Bernice was cool, or they joined the game after Ellen came out, and then they don't have Ellen, and she is Shork Girl. Her design is actually amazing. Like, she's very cool. But you're right as well. Chingy was probably pretty skipped because she was between two DPS agents at the start of the game, and I think a lot of players, myself included, prioritize the DPS at the start of the game as opposed to prioritizing Chingy, like a stun agent. So yeah, I don't have either. So yeah, that's a fair point. Joshua, what about you?
I'm a collector, man. So
All right.
I'm, hey, just
what character don't I have?
just trying, hey, just trying to get my little pixels, okay? I'm just living my life out here. But I've been quite the big Qingyi shill, especially during the time of around 1.0, 1.1, just because she was just that effective in giving us those more universal stun damage bonuses. And to Kate's point, right? I believe Chingy is probably one of the better universal just stunners in the game in its entirety, because anybody can make use of a stun damage multiplier. Anybody, right? Versus the fire and ice damage bonuses, which are amazing, but you can slide that onto one team, Chingy on another team. And where I kind of disagree with the bait argument is where when it comes to Zenless Zone Zero, we not only have to worry about elemental typing, but we have to worry about other, synergies when it comes to core. That also includes faction, right? And other archetypes of the character. So when it comes to investment, and I believe wholeheartedly, I as creators, I think we can all agree that horizontal investment generally always trumps vertical investment, and that goes across this game, it goes across Oyoverse games, it goes across gacha games. You just want coverage to be able to at least have a chance or an opportunity to clear X or Y certain pieces of content. So where Chingy comes into that, right? That she can technically work with a bunch of elements, and then Lighter is a little bit more niche down, right? And then you come in with the ether stunners of the world, the physical stunners, who knows when they're going to come, but they will eventually come, because as we generally know, these types of gotcha games in their first year, second year lifespan. They generally try to cover the entire and try to encapsulate pretty much the entire type chart of sorts. So Qingyi as just that universal of a stunner, I can't say that she's not a nice pull. And to be honest, if I were to give any suggestion, I would suggest people to pull Astra Yao first half and then Qingyi second half instead of Evelyn. But again, that's more of my own opinion on that. But yeah, I don't know. Can't dismiss Qingyi.
I'm
no.
of the opinion. I don't. Okay, so basically, I don't recommend people pick up Shingi, but I don't think people who do get her will um be upset in the long run. Is what I'm
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
because she'll last them for a very long time. So I think the people who do end up getting her won't be upset, but I don't know if I'll highly recommend getting her. Is basically what I'm saying.
I think you always need to go in with a plan, right? If your plan is to pick up Qingyi now and then pair her up with Ju Yuan when Ju Yuan reruns, and she is Ju Yuan's best stunner, then sure. Then yes, get Qingyi. But if you plan to pick up Qingyi now to, work alongside Evelyn, and that's going to be your team because, you're not planning on getting Ju Yuan, or you're not planning on maining Haramasa, who Qingyi works incredibly well with, then it's maybe like a little bit, it's a little bit more tricky to be like, yeah, it'll still work. You'll still be able to clear all the content. You'll still be able to do it all in like a really fast time with Qingyi. But like, I think what players should start working to, we're not in that position now where, we're very early on in the game's life cycle and you can kind of just pick up anyone and then kind of your account will just kind of fall into place. I think we need to, like, as players, I think we should be starting to think about like lining up like best in slot teams at this point for like prepping for the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I can also say this: if you don't have Caesar, so similar to how Gamer doesn't have Caesar, I'm gonna use you as an example, Gamer, because you're perfect for this.
The call out.
You're
I am
it's actually
perfect.
not
Yeah.
it's actually not calling him out. Like genuinely, he's perfect. Like situation. You have Julian, right? You have Nicole, well built,
Mm-hmm.
and you're using Ambi, right?
Yeah.
For you specifically, if you wanted your Julian to be stronger, upgrading Ambi will give you upgrading Ambi to Shingi.
I
Will give you
can't
more
pull
damage.
3 characters in this patch. My community will explode.
I'm using you as an example. I'm not telling you to pull anyone. Obviously,
No, I do.
Right?
I do agree. Like when I saw that
That's
Chingy was
you
in this
example.
patch, I was like, "Holy shit! How am I going to explain to my community that I'm going to pull 3 characters?"
Yeah, but if someone was
Get Ellen while
similar
you're
like
at it.
you,
Yeah,
if
might as
someone was
well.
similar, yeah, if someone was similar like you, Gamer, and they're like a Haramasa or a Juyan main, and upgrading Ambi to Shingi is a bigger damage increase than upgrading Nicole to Astra, right?
Yeah, totes.
Um, so like that is also another thing to take into consideration.
Yeah, because Nicole, like that ether damage bonus, as well as all of her like universal buffs. Yeah. Nicole's still great with GU1. Ooh, it's gonna be a tough patch, boys.
Yeah.
So just while we're still on the topic of reruns, I don't know if we haven't really talked about Ellen that much. What are we saying? Rerun Ellen? Like Ellen coming back, guys?
Oh.
She has a skin, guys. Yeah.
I'm fine with my Miyabi.
I think
Wait, am I the
I think if you enjoy Ellen, like now might be the time to invest in a Mindscape. Like for example, like if you're an Ellen enjoyer, you've benefited from all of the ice weakness because of Miyabi. And let's say you skip Miyabi, Ketty, I'm going to use you for this because you're perfect. You skipped Miyabi. Maybe now might be the time to get an Ellen Mindscape because her M1 makes her less clunky, right? I don't know. It's your call.
I'm getting him.
You're
I'm
getting
getting him too.
You're getting M2. Okay, that's fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
M2.
So, like, normally, obviously, I would recommend against getting Mindscapes, but if you're an Ellen and Joya, and obviously you benefit from the ice weakness, and then you didn't feel that it was necessary to pull Miyabi for whatever reason, that's totally fine. Maybe she just doesn't appeal to you from like a design and gameplay perspective. That's fine as well. But yeah, I think if that's the case, you've had a whole patch to save. Maybe now might be M1 time, or if you don't have it, then the Wenjin. You know, if you picked up Ellen, you didn't have enough for a Wenjin at the time.
Look. I just simply like Ellen
That's
more.
fine. Yeah.
And I understand that quite literally, like it's not even an exaggeration. You go look at Jay Stern's spreadsheets. By the way, y'all should check out Jay Stern. He's a very good theory crafter. If you go look at Jay Stern's spreadsheets, quite literally, M0 Miyabi does double the damage of M0 Ellen. It's not even close, right? It's not even close. And I'm still going to invest more into my Ellen just because I love the Shark Maid. I love her personality. I just like her look. But this is literally a case of I'm playing my waifu over the meta.
The
right?
thing is, I feel like I'm known as the waifu guy, but you are literally the waifu and husbando guy. Look at you. You light a simp and
Yeah,
Ellen
I'm-
investor.
I'm an Ellen investor. I'm a lighter simp. I don't give a fuck about the meta.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, man, all good, all good. How are you feeling about Ellen rerun, Shanna? I know you said you didn't have her. Are you gonna pick her up?
Here's the thing. She's on the same like cycle as Astra. Like I can't go for like you said, you can't go for 3 characters, right?
True.
If it were like on a different time with a different character, like if the fact that she's sharing the same time as the limited, like coming back to her, the first limited ether support, it's kind of difficult to say, oh, you know what, I'm not gonna go for the meta character. I'm gonna go for Ellen, unless you're the waifu enjoyer like Keto.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
I'm-
Josh, you're gonna pick up everyone, so you already have Ellen.
Well,
But is
He
it
got me Astra
Mindscape?
at M6 already.
Yeah,
Is
but
is it Mindscape time though? Yeah.
Right. So, sorry, Gate, you're gonna have to forgive me. My Ellen, even though I picked her up, I only have her at like 40, 45 because that, the first like 1.0 patch, like I grabbed her just so that, I could have the character. Of course, I wanted to be a collector, but then she was one of the stronger DPSs to carry me along that first, was it 1 to level 30 and then level 40 come patch 1.1 and et cetera. And then that's where I started like actually vertically investing a lot harder into those characters because the game state at that point was, oh yeah, physical, electric, for Julian specifically in those niche cases, ether, right? And then Bernice comes around, fire becomes relevant. So ice got left behind for the first like month 2 to month 5 or month 6 basically, right? And now we're in month 7 of the game and ice has come back, Ellen's relevant. So my suggestion to everybody is that, hey, we've talked about horizontal coverage. If you guys just need ice coverage, you're not gonna find a better ice DPS outside of Miyabi than Ellen.
For a second I was gonna be like, but Miyabi though.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Miyabi, she benefits from ice, for everything about ice, and then also does her own thing, right, with frost. So it's just, yeah, she was literally crafted to be in a league of her own, which, again, kind of, that's a whole other conversation. I'm pretty sure that you guys had in a previous pod about, how she separates herself, and it's just like a different game when you play her versus the other characters. But as so far as the cast as a whole and looking into their value, Ellen Joe actually still has quite a bit of value for sure, and I would be remiss to say that she is like 100% no go, like do not pull for her at all, because there's still relevance with coverage. And you take a look at DA, you need 3 teams, and I from season 1 to season 2, or the, however you want to partition, the parts of the of DA, but 2 out of the 3 have been, utilizing ice. So then you could put Miyabi one side, Ellen Joe on the other side.
Yeah, that is
So-
true. I don't see that continuing for that much longer, though. I think we'll continue to see the effects of Miyabi for the next few cycles. As in, I think there will continue to be ice weakness on the highest floor of Shiyu and Deadly Assault, but I think it's going to drop down to 1 soon, as in like next rotation, as opposed
And
to
I'll be
being
honest,
more.
no, even next rotation, we could even see 0, right? But when you
Yeah.
look at it from the 12-month out, 24 months out, we're probably going to need to, or at least, I took a look at my experience with Genshin content creation. I take a look at my just very limited HSR knowledge, just because I'm a tourist in that game, right? You need coverage of at least 1 to 2 characters that are relevant within that sort of archetype, or I guess in this case element, right? So I want 1 to 2, if not 3, relevant ice characters, so that if I can deal ice damage just straight up, then I got my Miyabi Ellen. Or if I just need to break a shield, hey, I got my Lycon, or even the free to play Sakaku, right? And that's just for the ice element in itself, and you can apply that all the way down the line. So
Yeah, yeah. I think though, like if people have invested into Miyabi, unless it's like a waifu pull, I don't know. I don't think it's a recommended to get Ellen right now. It's just like, yes, you can still have a place in the meta if you want to use her. Grand, like you can make it work. She might require a bit more investment. I don't mean that you need to get mindscapes and stuff. I just mean that you probably need to farm for her for a bit longer, like bring those drive discs up and all that, to make sure that she's up to scratch with trying to keep up with Ellen. It's kind of like Kete said. She's literally like half the strength of Miyabi and deals ice damage. So I think, yeah, it's probably like if you're a collector, if you're a waifu enjoyer and you want to play Ellen, go for it. But if you missed her at the start of the game, but I don't think you're gonna get long-term value out of her if you've got Miyabi as well. But
that's fair. That's fair.
yeah, in terms of the other reruns, though, guys, because we talked about like Ellen and Chingy a little bit. We can maybe go back to Chingy, but the kind of conversation that I thought might be kind of interesting is who do we think is coming in 1.6?
What
Rerun wise, or
Yeah, rerun wise.
Oh, rerun wise.
I'm expecting them. So they did 1 character from 1.0, 1 character from 1.1.
Yeah,
What if they just do the 2 that are missing and
Yeah.
just do Julien and Jane?
yeah, that would make sense.
Ah.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I think it kind of depends on the characters that we get, because I think what they did with this patch is that they looked at the characters that we were gonna get, because they obviously really wanted to rerun Ellen again, because 1.0 unit. She was the start of the game. She was very hype, and very beloved in the community. So again, like it's fine if you want to pull Ellen. But then I think they kind of looked at the patch and realized if they just followed the same schedule, then Ju Yuan would move in to the 1.5 patch, and then we'd be in a position where we have 3 attack agents in the same patch. So I think it does kind of depend as well on what units we get in 1.6. So if we end up with, for example, like if there's going to be like 2 anomaly agents or something, then maybe Jane might get moved out to like the following patch, and then maybe they move Caesar in or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So it depends on what they're going to be running in 1.6, I think, a little bit. But yeah, I don't think it would be a crazy suggestion that it's going to be Ju Yuan and Jane, and that could be our working theory for now.
all right, we're calling it right here. 2 anomaly units, everybody, courtesy of Average Luck Gaming.
Yeah, it just seems less likely that they would do 2 attack units again. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I just wonder if maybe like we end up in a situation where they're going to be running like multiple similar units, or not similar units, but similar agent styles. It just makes me think that then maybe they might like think about flipping it. But I think the working theory of it being Ju Yuan and Jane makes the most sense for now.
There's a lot of viewers who play Zenless who have never played other Hoyo games, and having played every single Hoyo game, I think
Even
we should
Tears
go
of Themis?
Right? It's a one day.
One day.
The tourist experience.
Yeah, of course. But I can confidently say reruns don't make sense in Hoyo games.
They don't
Um,
make sense.
They don't. I promise you right now, after my experience with Genshin and Star Rail, I played a lot of Honkai Impact too, but mostly Genshin and Star Rail. Reruns don't make sense. There will be some limited agent. Yeah, this is what they're called, right? I had a brain fart. My bad. Agents and ZZZ that will get significantly more reruns than others, and that's just how it is.
True.
It is unfortunate. They don't do it even. That's not how Hoyoverse works. They don't do even amount of reruns. Some agents will just get significantly more than others. I don't know why they don't do an even a number like of reruns, but there will be agents that you might have to wait a year, Lord, almost 2 years for a rerun. It's just unfortunate.
One of the more like
enjoys
famous
crying.
arguments.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shanha. That's the the lack of the rerun example. But like to your point, one of the more famous examples is actually in Genshin Impact Tartaglia. Tartaglia has one of the highest user ratings, public ratings in Asia back in the first 2 years. So that's why Tartaglia had one of the highest rerun rates. So you take a look at it from that perspective. Hey, which characters do people like a little bit more? You might be seeing a couple more of their reruns.
Yeah, I think Zhongli actually has the most reruns in Genshin history now.
Mm-hmm.
The man gets reran every other 2 patches. Like that's
Yeah,
another thing with
it's 'cause he's an
Hoyo.
Archon,
Yeah, that's another thing
Yeah.
with Hoyo, right? Hoyo, they'll release a character, and then you'll think, oh, okay, I can't get him now. That's fine. But I got at least 3 or 4 patches, right? And then 2 patches later, they're like, here's a rerun of the character we just made. You're like, wait, what
Yeah.
the?
To that point, yeah, I could see them, like, I know we said Ju-Yuan and Jane is the working theory. I could see them being like, oh, actually, we're just going to do, like, Jane and, I don't know, like, fucking Yanagi or something, like someone who's just come out. I could see them just doing something completely random. So, yeah, you're totally right, Kate.
Yeah. So don't ever try to guess reruns. That's another bad thing about reruns. While we're talking about reruns, have you noticed something, gamer Shanaha, Jshoea? Have y'all noticed something with the Hoyoverse community?
What?
So many times people will say, "Okay, I'm gonna skip this character and get them on the rerun." I am guilty of this as well.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: the reruns always seem to happen at the worst
Yep.
fucking time. And you're like, well, I gotta skip them again. Are you serious? Like it happens almost every single time. The reruns just come at the worst time.
I think I said that about Chingy, is that like, yeah, like I was like, Ambi is fine for now, but as the game gets harder, you might be having to get Chingy, and now I'm in a position where I'm like, I don't know if I can get Chingy. Yeah, I have to get really lucky, but we'll see. Sag. And I think the same will be true for people who skipped other characters as well. Like I'm thinking about it like from my perspective. The other character that I skipped that I kind of regret is Caesar. So yeah, when Caesar comes back around, she's going to come at the worst possible time.
Yeah, we're gonna get another defense support character that just is way too relevant.
Well, yeah, or she'll be running alongside like an Evelyn equivalent of incredibly appealing waifu, and I'll be like, oh, guys, I'm gonna have to skip Caesar again. Gotta do what we gotta do.
Yeah, unfortunate.
So should we move forwards, continue to talk about 1.5 in general? Like, how do we feel about all of the stuff that was announced on the trailer, the story stuff, events? There's multiplayer coming, guys.
Yeah, there was one more.
Yeah, if you want to consider the mini games multiplayer,
we could play
If you
together.
Hey, gamer.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind, there was just one more small topic I wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah, go for it, man. Yeah, before we move on.
Because I really wanted all of your thoughts. This was like me asking to you three your thoughts on when I give you this question. So remember how we were talking about okay, like Lighter is better than Shingi, right, in these teams, but Shingi's universal.
Yeah.
My question to you guys is, would you rather have an account where you have a lot of characters that are good at a specific niche, or would you rather have an account where you have a lot of universal characters? Or would you try to balance it? What would you guys rather prefer?
I
Um.
prefer Universal.
hmm, Yeah. You're not going
Um,
to expand on that, Shanahan, though.
Oh, well, I was gonna give you guys an answer. Yeah, for me, I'd say Universal, just because you never know what's gonna come up later on. So, if there's something brand new, odds are those specific niches that you had, they might not cover that. Whereas with the Universal thing, you could probably figure out something, right? It's like just having a toolbox of just random stuff that there's gotta be some configuration out of those units that you could use to tackle whatever gets thrown your way.
Yeah, I
yeah, I
think.
kind of have to agree there. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go.
I was gonna say I kind of like to balance it a little bit because I like the idea of having the like I'm not really like a meta slave. I don't pull for meta, I pull for waifu over meta, but I like the idea of my favorite characters being on their best team. So as much as I do I can't disagree with Shanahan, and it seems like Josh was saying the same thing. But I can't disagree with the universalness. But like, if I was a Evelyn and Joya, for example, I would be like, right, I'm gonna get Evelyn, I'm gonna skip Chingy, and I'm gonna wait for Lighter to come back because that's her best in slot stunner, you know. And I think I would rather do that than have a bunch of universal characters. And I understand the appeal of universal characters because then it's like, oh, well, I can just put anyone in here and then continue to clear the content. But for me, I'm like, oh, I want them to be, like as good as they can be, you know? I think at the start of the game, though, it makes way more sense to invest into universal characters like Chingy, characters like Caesar, characters I skipped. Wait,
Why'd your voice get like that?
I don't know. I just thought it would be funny. But yeah, like I guess like it makes way more sense to invest into those characters at the start of the game because then as you go forward into the game, it's like, oh, when everything comes out, I could just use it with Chingy for now. It's all good, and stuff like that. But yeah, I like the idea of them being on like their best in slot teams, as much as Universal makes more sense most of the time. Because then it's like like Shanna said, you got a toolbox. You can kind of put together a team that might not be the best possible team, but considering what you have, it's the best you can do in that situation, and then it allows you to clear the content and get good scores and stuff.
I got you.
What about you, Kathy?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Team Universal.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the
I-
outlier here.
I know people might say, "Oh, like you're like a whale. You've been playing gacha games forever. You have no life. You're a whale." But it's like I actually don't pull that many characters. I'm missing Jane. I'm missing Yanagi. I'm missing Juyan. I'm missing Miyabi. I only got Haru because he's free. I don't pull a lot of characters. I pull just what I like. So it's very nice to get characters like Shingi or Caesar who are like so universal. Like that was the biggest appeal for Shingi for me, and also Caesar. Like, oh, I can use these two characters on so many teams. Like they
Yeah.
can, they can go to so many different teams. Like that was like the biggest thing for me. Like because I don't pull a character unless they can either A, work on multiple teams. That's why I'm really excited for Astra, or B, I just really like them. That's the only time I pull.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think for me, yeah, I think from like a free to play low spender perspective, that's the right way to do it. Like just get the universal ones and then you'll always be able to clear the content. But I for some reason, like there's a part of me that always just stops myself. I'm like, yeah, but it's not, they're pretty good everywhere, but they're not the best, and that makes me feel like I want to wait for the best. It might be just a mindset thing. And maybe I'm
Right,
totally
because
wrong.
you always want to like when you put in your investment, you put in your your time, and for some other folks, they put in their hard-earned physical dollars, right? You want to try to get the best out of that. So one of the better examples, I think we can go to Honkai Star Rail for this, right? Like I feel as though people who invested into Jing Liu relative didn't feel as much bang for their buck as they did with Acheron, right? When you got Acheron, you got this insane powerhouse. Or whereas Jing Liu relative at the time was still a powerhouse, but per the relative scaling of where the game was at the time, you just felt way more better about Acheron. So I'm actually brain rotted. I don't know where I was gonna go with that, but it's
I feel like you made the point though. Like, there's like,
yeah.
you wanted to invest into like who was going to be the best in that situation. I get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're trying to have my
Yeah.
back. You tried. I got
Yeah.
it.
but yeah, it comes to the point where that thought process is extremely valid, and I even have that too, because I want to get the whoever the Raiden Shogun is, and you could argue that Miyabi is kind of that character in a sense right now with Zenless Zone Zero, but whenever Zenless Zone Zero hits that stride, you want to get on top of that, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to us, most of us have experience with other gacha games. We have that foresight. Not a lot of people, potentially some of the viewers and the listeners, maybe you guys don't have that foresight. So hopefully you guys can kind of take it from us and our different perspectives, right? And ultimately, we all just want you to have a plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Have a plan.
We just want you to have just think, Mark, think. For what for a couple seconds, especially because we the quote unquote or the quote is waifu over meta, but at the same time we still want you guys to be able to have an experience, or a healthy experience, where you're not like saying, hey, just because I missed out on this universal stunner, or I guess in this particular instance with Zenless Zone Zero, I missed out on Caesar King, and now simulated battle tower is infinitesimally that much harder. As one of the more clear-cut examples when it comes to Zenless Zone Zero, we want you guys to have a very enjoyable, comfy experience. That doesn't mean that if you guys are searching for this X or Y or a different experience, that doesn't mean you're invalid. But just as an overarching suggestion from us, I think universal is just the way to go. And then after you get those those universal tools in your toolbox, then you can start to niche down.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think it's perfectly fine to get the niche character if you know that niche character is going to have a spot on your account for a long time.
Yeah.
That's when I think it's okay, now you're good to go.
Real.
Because there was a gacha game, and this is how I got to this mindset a few years ago. It wasn't even a Hoyo game, but I'm not going to say the name of the game because I know some viewers have probably played this game. They would make fun of me if I said the exact game and the unit I'm talking about. So just know that there was a support that got released in this gacha game a few years ago, and they were just incredibly good on this one specific team, and it just so happened to be a team I was using. So I was like, hey, dropped $50, got him. I was like, cool. 2 months later, make a new support, universal support, and they're better than the niche character on the team. It's like, bro, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I think that is the problem though with pulling for meta, and that's also why I don't really want to push it in any way. Please don't do what I do, please. That's why every one of my videos where I talk about value is like, I'm gonna pull this character, but maybe you shouldn't, or I'm not gonna pull this character, but maybe you should, because I'm aware that sometimes I might not be making the best play. Because if you pull for any kind of meta, you'll probably get fucked, because it'll get power. The power will increase. It might not be immediate, but power creep is kind of a required part of gacha. Like they need to kind of raise the power levels once they've kind of covered all of like the elemental and typing bases, or else people just won't pull for the new agents, right? So like there is a required amount of power creep, and I think like we've seen that in games that's been managed relatively well in things like Genshin, because you can get like indirect buffs from supports coming out that mean that like older characters can get like buffed a little bit by having like really good supports that come out and stuff like that, even if their kit scaling isn't quite as high as like newer characters. But yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that like yeah, pull the niche characters, like try and like get together like the best in slot team. That's what I want to do. That's what I think is fun. But you just have to be aware that like in a year or so's time, that team just might not function particularly. It might not be able to keep up with the content. But hopefully it's longer than a year or so, or hopefully you can like in a year or so's time there'll be a new support who comes in who's more specifically good with like a Juyuan and Qingyi duo that is way better than Nicole and Astra, and then that kind of brings that team back up to like a level where they're able to still clear really effectively. But yeah, never pull for meta.
But the thing is, we don't want you to wait forever, right?
Yeah,
like, the next Miyabi is coming in a year, guys. I'm not gonna pull anything until the next year. Like, guys, you guys still need to pull and gain units and build and progress, because that's just the experience. Like, if you halt to your progression, halt to your experience, that's I don't know.
Yeah, and if you continue to wait, then you'll never pull anyone. So
exactly.
Snore. Yeah. That was a really cool question, Kete. Any other questions though, or like thoughts before we move on to general thoughts on 1.5 live stream stuff?
I mean, there is, but no, we can go ahead and move on.
We can move on. Yeah, we'll come back. Like we are going to also talk about how we're feeling about 1.4. I'm just conscious that this has been running for quite a while, and I know it's quite late for some of you guys. So I'm trying to keep the train rolling. So general thoughts. Yeah, sorry. So general thoughts on 1.5, like the story stuff, the event stuff, the multiplayer. Yeah, let's go.
I think Jshoea can agree with me, because we all stream here, but I know me and Jshoea probably stream by far the most. The multiplayer that now we can like do co-op on stream with our viewers. Oh, thank God, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man, because like sometimes I want to take a break from the meta talk, or like doing all the Shiyu and Deadly Soul help and count reviews I do. Like it's like sometimes, man, can we take like a 30-minute break? Like it
and just play Subway Surfers.
Yeah. Be very
2048. Hey, we got our pick of the litter with this one. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm very happy with the multiplayer. The events look cool. The skins.
Yeah, the skins.
Really? Okay, so what I'm seeing, I want you guys' opinion, obviously, but what I'm seeing is kind of like a divide. Like, if you go to the comment section of the recap video, that's like 9 minutes from the stream the other day on the ZZ YouTube page, it's like a divide. It's like almost half of the players are saying they like don't like the Nicole skin, and the other half are saying they really love it. Like I thought more people would like it, but I guess it's kind of like a big divide.
I mean,
just from the
it's
comment
a free skin. You can't really complain, right?
It is free. Yeah. I actually think that her original design is better though. I think that's the thing, right? Is that if it is a free skin, but her original design is genuinely so good. Yeah. I just don't think that. I think that's maybe why people are a little bit salty about Nicole getting the skin. Is that it's fine for Nicole to get a skin, but like have it be a little bit more interesting, I guess, would be my thought.
Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. I'm actually going to use it.
That's cool, man. I think I'll probably put it on for a bit, but then I imagine I might go back to original Nicole because she's
okay, but what about the paid skins? How do y'all feel about those?
I think it depends on the cost. Yeah.
We already know. We already know.
Do we?
It's 20.
How much?
$20 USD.
Yeah, that's
Depending on
And
if you have
wait.
like I think, well, my assumption was that it's like 1,680-ish monochrome. So it varies depending on if you have like those first time bonuses and stuff still. Like you might be able to get it for a little
Yeah.
bit cheaper.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
isn't
No,
it
but also in Genshin, what they do is like during the patch, they'll make it slightly discounted,
Yeah.
and
that's
then they'll
true.
leave it up on the store for the full price for the whatever $30 it is for the skin. So
But here's the thing though.
um,
So
hmm.
that's with it like staying in the store. When they showed off those skins, they did say it was a limited time skin. So I don't know if that's going to be an option here as well.
Oh,
Maybe they might just actually make it limited versus having like a separate store to house the skins entirely. You might be right. You might be right. We
That.
don't know fully yet until they come out with another breakdown of it to like
Yeah.
flush that out entirely. But my assumption was that they were going to do something more like Genshin oriented. But I think when it comes to the limitedness of it, like if they were to make it limited, in my opinion, I don't see terribly much that these two paid skins really grant the characters as so far as like comparing it to the
Oh.
other gacha games that are out right now, as well as like previous gacha games that I have paid skins for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, sorry to
go ahead.
sorry to interrupt. Yeah, Shanna's just shared something in our group chat saying that it's a limited time deal during the promotion period, but then will still
So
be
yeah, it
available
is
for
going to
full
be
price. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
it'll
so
be
it
the
is the
same.
Genshin.
It'll
It
be the
is the
same.
So it's
Genshin
the same, yeah.
format.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So
So
Shanna just saw limited time and was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, like they highlighted it and everything on like in the promotional video. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it'll be a small discount, I guess, and then it'll
Yeah.
be available for everyone. I think though, Astra's outfit, like her alternate outfit, I prefer her original one again. And Ellen's, I prefer the skin, but it is a bit plain for like, you know, equivalent of like $20. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and I mentioned this the other day, ALG, that like I would be more invested if these skins included the overarching theme within the combat. So like with Ellen Jo, she's in a little high school, girls outfit. Why not have like effects that also kind of exude that, like, oh, instead of like particles flying out of just like random ice or whatever, you can have like rulers or little math equations. And when it came to Asher Yao, like she has more of a black dress, a black based dress, so instead of like the sparkly shiny stars, it could be like black stars or other darker particle
Yeah,
effects. And
like
I feel like that would have justified it a little bit more for me. It doesn't seem like that's the case. It just seems like these are literal just outfit over the character model and then combat, which is still not, it's something, but I don't know.
yeah, like alternate effects. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just skins, I think. Sag.
There's a little there's like a little hack that PC players can do now, but I don't know if I should say it.
Now, we haven't done it, of course, but it's been out on the internet.
yeah.
Cough.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
move on.
I
Before.
genuinely don't know if I should say that, to be honest. It just has to do with mods. I'll just say that with the
Okay.
skins.
Yeah. But yeah, overall though, I think 1.5 is looking pretty good. As a patch, kind of interesting.
Wait,
It
hang
seems
on.
like a whole bunch of events, whole bunch of like more chill stuff to do. Because I know we were talking about that the other day, Kete. We would, and I made a whole video about that like casual attraction problem. And now it's like, oh, okay, so they're starting to introduce multiplayer to the arcade games, like the what was it? The really popular one, like the Vampire Survivors clone. You're going to be able to play that with a friend.
Ooh, Bizarre Brigade, yeah.
Bizarre Brigade, there you go. I forgot what the name was. And then like the fishing stuff, like as an event. I think, yeah, it's kind of going in the right direction with that like casual attraction of like stuff to do in the game that's not like necessarily just combat, and I kind of hope they flesh out those events quite well to kind of bring players in who don't necessarily just play for combat. So yeah, I think we're going in the right direction. It seems really cool.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, agreed.
Any other
agree.
thoughts about 1.5, guys? Story stuff. Shanna, do you want to yap about story?
I mean, it's 1.5, so it's a special episode. So normally these are like the side story type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not really focused on the main stuff. Although I will say it was nice to see that it looks like at least this time around, we as Phaethon are a little bit more involved. Like in the trailer, it showed us, helping out Astra, as opposed to 1.4 and 1.3 and 1.1, where we were just like on the sidelines and we weren't even interacting with like Section 6 or Jane and Seth at all in their stories. Here we're a little bit more involved, which I like.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I think.
Yeah, I ain't got much else to say about 1.5.
Yeah, I think it's just a wait and see
Okay.
thing. At this point, we don't really have that
Before-
much info.
Before we move away from 1.5, though, I will say this. I don't know if you three noticed two specific things in the trailer, the little promotional video. There are two people there. I'm going to post pictures of them. They make small little cameos in the trailer.
Oh yeah.
Who are they? One of them we can assume is Hugo Vlad, the guy from Lycan's backstory. Who's that girl with the umbrella with the
Is that
purple
the
hair?
other Stars a Liar character?
Nobody knows. Nobody
think-
knows.
I mean, with her outfit, I mean, it's kind of hard to not say that she is, a little bit more into, the fashion or fashionista, arena of things. So, the Stars of Lyra could be a very good fit for them. And then when it comes to the Stars of Lyra, right, we take a look at, or we would assume, hey, the Stars of Lyra, is it like an idol? It's kind of weird to say because I would say I personally call them idols, whereas like the idol faction to me seems like more just like VTubers, or like I call them the Angel faction more specifically because we know a little bit more about their history, or potential history to say that that's a little bit more cared for them. I call them like the Angel faction. But as so far as the Stars of Lyra, right, we have a singer or an idol, and then we have their manager, and then we could get this new character. Potentially, it could be a very low poly Hugo Vlad, or it could be a talent scout for the Stars of Lyra, right? And then the other girl, she could be maybe a dance coach for the Stars of Lyra. That was my kind of like running theory with it. But obviously that that's completely just a theory. But it does beg the question, like, oh, could these two round out our cast as it pertains to the Stars of Lyra? Which I mean, we'll have to wait and see.
Oh my goodness, we're talking about these characters. When we get done with them, there's a really important topic I think we need to talk about. But this talk got me thinking about it. But honestly, yeah, maybe it is Hugo. Lycon said some stuff about him before, so it could be him.
And
Genuinely
also
don't know.
in the Bamboo versus Ethereal event, the Definitely Not Arknights event, they did name drop him as well. So like again, they like to tease stuff a little bit beforehand, like how we had Snap appear before this patch. They had a name drop of Hugo, so you never know.
Yeah, I mean, we could just be like thinking about it because he's the only dude that we know.
Fair enough. Maybe that's Big Daddy. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, that's clearly not Big Daddy. That's the only other dude that we know. I don't know. Yeah, like I think that all of the Hugo Vlad buzz around that guy with his back turned, it could be right. Yeah, sure. But like, it's kind of like he's the only dude that we know. So yeah, to your point though, Shanna, they do like to tease stuff first. So it would make sense if it was him, but that's literally all we have to go on. This is the fact that he was like mentioned. And he's like the only dude that we know. I don't know. I think that the design on, I know it's like a, it was kind of zoomed out, so it's not like a great image that we have of the girl, but her design looks so cool. I'm super excited, and like the umbrella thing, kind of think that that's going to be kind of interesting in battle. If that's like an umbrella, yeah, she looks cool. I'm excited for her. Kete, what was the thing you wanted to talk about?
So A ranks. Man,
Oh,
talking about
Dude, what ranks?
we were A ranks.
yeah, we
were
touched.
talking
Oh,
I only
no,
know
we
S
only know
ranks
S.
in this.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Astra and Evelyn's banners earlier. Right now, we're at the point where they have only made one new A rank in Seth since the game's launch, and that was back in 1.1.
Hmm.
It's to the point now where players who have been playing the game since day one, you just feel so heavily punished. Not every player, obviously, not everyone has every A rank at M6, but a lot of the player base actually does. Like, there's even free to play players in my Discord who say they have every A rank at M6 now. And it's like it feels like you're getting punished
Yeah.
because like there's just no new A ranks. Like, do y'all think it's a good or bad? Like, genuine question, and I want the comment section's opinion as well. Do you think it's a good or bad thing, or does it not make a difference? There's no A ranks.
Yeah, I think it's not a good thing for like, what's the word? Flexibility. Let's put it that way. For like team flexibility, it's kind of like we talked about before with like, oh, you're better to pick like a universal character. But I think like if we had more A rank characters, then we'd have more potentially niche characters that we would have just like hanging around that we could slot into teams. So without A rank characters, I feel like we're kind of missing that additional like slot. Like maybe if we had like an extra support or an extra stun unit that was like an A rank, that wasn't so like they could just function a little bit differently, and it would bring a little bit of difference in the way that we play. But for players though, like here's the thing, I don't think it would give us a little bit more team flexibility, but in terms of like the pulls and stuff, like being able to M6 most of the characters, the A rank characters, isn't necessarily that bad, because if you've M6 Nicole, for example, it kind of means that you've got an absolutely goated support that you probably wouldn't have if Nicole, if we had a whole bunch more A ranks, because you wouldn't have M6 Nicole in that circumstance. So I think having less A ranks means that the A ranks that we do have got, like really high mindscapes, and therefore they're really, really good, which kind of diminishes the value of some of the S ranks. Like we were talking about it just a moment ago, like, but Nicole's really good as a support in general, because of like some of her mindscapes make her even better. But like like getting Astra versus Nicole at M6 is probably not going to be a huge difference. It's going to be a big difference, yeah, sure. But it like, do you see what I'm saying? Like having like really good A rank characters isn't necessarily bad for players, because it gives us more like flexibility with not picking up S ranks, because we have really good A ranks. Like Piper as well. If you have Piper at M6 and you skip Jane, you're fine. You've got a physical anomaly unit, stuff like that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I just want more A ranks for,
Yeah.
like you said,
Yeah.
for one reason only, just for team flexibility.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not
that's true.
saying that you have to make an A rank every single patch. I'm not asking for that. But what Seth did, like I know a lot of people will crap on Seth nowadays, but the thing is, when you look at clear times, Seth, yes, he's not the best in any team anymore. But if you don't have Caesar, you slot in Seth, your clear time is not going to be so much different that you're not clearing in time for the max rewards, right?
Yeah.
You put Seth instead of Rena. You don't have Rena for a Yanagi team. Seth, he's not going to be best, but he works. He keeps the team together, right? So it's like I really like A ranks like Seth. Is like he works in a lot of different teams. He's not best in slot, but not every player is going to have every single best in slot S rank, right? It's just not possible for every player to have every single best in slot. So having a character like Seth that can fill that gap and keep your team together, I really, really like. And I just want more A ranks like him. That you don't have to be best in slot. As long as you can fill the gap in a lot of teams, I think that's a good thing for players.
Mm. Yeah, I do agree with you, but yeah, it's kind of like I was just saying though, like, but having M6 Seth is is kind
No,
of
it doesn't make a big difference.
yeah.
No, not for him. Not for him specifically.
I
No,
actually
you don't. No.
there's a I think like his M2 or 3 is like pretty big for him though, right? I can't remember what it does.
Like the early mindscapes are good for him, but like
Yeah.
he's a character where like M6 doesn't really do that much for him.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily like limiting the conversation just to Seth though, but having that high mindscape character kind of means that they might be more useful everywhere else. Like again, bring it back to Nicole. Like her M6 is that like 15% crit rate buff. That's just useful for
Mhm.
like every attack character.
Yeah.
So yeah, having less A ranks isn't great because you lose the flexibility, like Kete was talking about. But I think it might give you future flexibility because you might think like, oh, I don't necessarily need this character because I already have like a really good A rank who can do that job, you know? And that might also include Seth. Like it might be part of the reason why you might have skipped Caesar is because you have a shielder who buffs anomaly proficiency, and you're going to use Caesar with your anomaly team. So, you know, yeah, it would be good to have more A ranks. I'm not saying it wouldn't, but I think the position that we are in now is actually not that bad.
Mhm. But at this rate, we're unless we get one more because it's not confirmed, right? There's a chance
Yeah,
there
there's
could
no.
just not be another one. But right now we're in version 1 of the game, right? And once 2.0 hits the game, then we'll be in version 2. As it stands right now, there's actually a possibility that in version 1 they've only released one A rank. Do you think one new A rank per version? Like I said, they could release a new A rank before 2.0, but we don't know yet. But do you think one or two new A ranks per version is a good thing?
No, I don't. Yeah. Like I'm not
Yeah.
yeah, I think what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to justify it and be like we can make the best of a bad situation here by not necessarily needing to pick up characters because our A ranks can do a good job. But yeah, I think from like a flexibility and like team building options perspective, we need more A ranks. Like it is it's not a necessity, but yeah,
Mhm.
it doesn't feel good right now with the amount of flexibility and options that we have. That I feel like we'd have a lot more if we had a couple more A ranks.
Mhm.
To
Right
build
now,
off on that, for me, it's that, yeah, and I have to agree with you guys. We would need more A ranks, but the problem is, and we've seen this across Hoyo games, they have a problem with diversifying their A rank pools. Not even just like, and we had this conversation literally just about the reruns, like with the reruns don't make any sense. But like sometimes their 4 stars, their A rank rotation, it just also does not make any sense whatsoever. And we barely see characters show up at all. Like you can take a look at Genshin Impact. Like when's the last time? I mean, we saw Chevreuse like somewhat recently, but like Chevreuse doesn't get rerun as much. We don't see what's her name? Starts with an F. Farazan as much, and Farazan is extremely potent, and people will want to get her constellations, right? So I'm just a little bit weary. If it's better to stick with a smaller pool of characters that people are okay with just focusing on, and then eventually all of us getting the mindscapes for,
Yeah,
versus like opening up to like a little bit more chaos.
I think that's the thing though. Is the Genshin is the other way completely. It's like it's got too many like A rank. I mean, like 4 star, which is the A rank equivalent. It's got too many that it's really hard to get what you want. Whereas I think in Zenless we have the opposite problem where we have too few and we're kind of capped out on mindscapes at this point. Like, yeah, we could like I made the argument of it's good that we get these M6 like A ranks because they're actually super useful and some of them really benefit from their mindscapes. But yeah, uh, sorry, I kind of forgot where I was going with that. My brain stopped working.
uh,
Can someone finish my thought? What was I doing?
you're basically what I think you were gonna go. You're basically trying to say there's a good and bad to it, right? Like there's
Yeah,
like
and there's a
a good
balance.
side and a side.
There we
Yeah.
go. There's a balance.
Mhm.
There's like somewhere in the middle. There we go. There's a balance that's somewhere in the middle. Zenless is way too low in terms of A ranks, and Genshin is way too high in terms of those A rank equivalents. What do you think, Shanna?
I think so obviously I'm still of the mindset that like we really want more A ranks just because not everyone's gonna get the like obviously you will eventually get them with the guarantee, but you're not gonna get all of the new characters. You're gonna lose a lot of the 50-50. At least with the new A ranks, like oh well, at least there's some new toy every other patch that you can mess around with.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah. Dang. Gamer, you did it to me. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh shit, man.
What was
Yeah.
what was the topic we were on before? Still kind of wrapping up 1.5.
Yeah, still kind of chatting about 1.5. So any other thoughts about 1.5 before we move on? I know this has been such a long one, guys. I'm trying to keep the train going. I promise we'll get there. Any
Yeah.
other thoughts on 1.5?
No.
Oh, cool. Should
no,
we
that's not-
do
I don't know.
should we do like wrap up chat on 1.4 because 1.4 is now coming to a close. We've had Miyabi, which has been a super long banner. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling a little bit. We kind of needed something in the middle here. I'm not gonna lie. There was no hype. Obviously there was a lot of hype around Miyabi, but it feels a little bit like at this point that maybe it would have been better to do Miyabi and then Haramasa because then it would have been a bit more exciting. I don't know. What do you guys think?
The consolation is that it was only 5 weeks long instead of 6 weeks, so it
Yeah.
wasn't that bad.
I think they were aware of it, but I think now that we're coming into that last like week and a half, it feels a little bit like I'm ready for the next patch. Come on, let's have something new.
Well, you gotta also look at the other side. There's a lot of players who are grateful for the Miyabi banner being as long as it is because they wouldn't have been able to get her had it not been that long.
Yeah,
Um,
I do think that Hoyo are kind of pushing for everyone to get her, if that makes sense, and that's why she's been run for so long. But
yeah.
like, and I'm
Um,
not saying it's not good for free to play and low spend players because if you were dry on polychromes coming into 1.4, you probably had enough to at least take a 50, even if you're pretty casual. I think how many pulls was there in this patch? I think that someone worked it out as around 140, 150 potential.
something around 140.
Yeah.
around
Yep, that's like the
140.
typical.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had a lot of chance to even just in the patch get Miyabi. So it's definitely been good for players, particularly players who came in a little bit dry. But yeah, I've just I felt like the excitement dropping off as we go deeper and deeper into the patch.
But I think that's necessary. You need a little bit of breathing room. And when it comes to us, we're creators. We need the next thing, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But for a lot of folk, they might not have been able to play in the first like 1 or 2 weeks. And I know a lot of people right now, even some streamers who are more Zenless Zone Zero tourists. They're just still catching up on the story and barely getting to the 1.4 story quest. So I think there's always need for a little bit of breathing room, and I think 5 weeks. I'll be honest, I thought 5 weeks was great. And to have both characters actually available has been really, really healthy. Since you don't have to be like, okay, now I have to rush 3 weeks, and then they're going to be gone the next 3 weeks, and we have a whole new set of characters, right? Which is kind of how the gacha system has been, set up, at least from a Hoyoverse perspective. But
Yeah.
yeah, I felt that this was a really nice breath of fresh air and a great opportunity. Like you guys said, right? Miyabi is just so, stand out of a character that they're like, hey, if you don't have her by now, then you just didn't want her.
Yeah, it's kind of true. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you could have got, like we said, like about 140 pulls in the patch. Even if you were pretty casual, you could have taken a 50. If you came in completely dry, you probably could have got 90. So yeah, if you didn't get her in the patch, it's probably because you didn't want her, or you got really unlucky. And if so, and if that's you and you're listening to this, I am so sorry. But also,
Yeah, one could say they don't have average luck.
yeah, they would be below average luck at that point. And if
Mhm.
that's the case, I'm really sorry. And just be just be ready. Because she's the Void Hunter, she's our first Void Hunter. She will probably rerun relatively frequently. Like we talked about earlier, Zhongli's the most rerun character in Genshin because he's an Archon, and Archons tend to get rerun every patch in Genshin. Every like point X patch, like 1.x, 2.x, 3.x. So yeah, I think. Yeah, even if you didn't get her and you're really close, she'll be back around, hopefully more frequently than other characters. But other 1.4 stuff to chat about though. What about how are we feeling about Deadly Assault?
I love
Are you
it.
talking
I
about this one
literally
specifically, or
Yeah,
in
I mean,
general?
well, I kind of was like just Deadly Assault in general because now we have a situation where we have Shio Defense and Deadly Assault, and they're alternating like week 1 Shio Defense resets and then week 2 Deadly Assault resets. So we've always got that end game content to kind of bounce in between. I think Deadly Assault feels a little harder, but it's in a good way. And
Yeah.
yeah, more specifically though, we can talk about this Deadly Assault like cycle as well because I think you mentioned earlier to me, Shanna, that the difficulties kind of shot up a little bit.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, also the fact that there's like, from what I understand, like a brand new boss, the mech. Like, we haven't seen that before in the game.
Yeah.
It's brand new, and like it has a special gimmick to it. Like, when I first went into it, I was like, I don't need to read the description of this. I'll just unga bunga my way through it, just mash through a Caesar. And then I'm like, wait a minute, oh, there's actually like a gimmick to this fight that you actually have to like learn. Like, oh, it was fun. It was interesting.
Yeah. Right before we got on call, I literally finished mine. I got 9 stars. It was definitely
This guy 9-star
it
and
was definitely yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I know, right? Show off woohoo. It was definitely harder than the last one for me specifically because of the robot, not because it was a hard fight, but because man, I do not have an electric carry.
Oh
my
yeah.
So
Actually, you
Bringer,
do because you have Haramasa, sir.
Everyone has
Oh.
Haramasa,
no, I don't have one built. is
You're
what I
forced to
meant.
get him. No.
I don't have one built, is what I meant.
Yeah, I'm only
Um,
joking.
But Bringer, not that bad, and the Butcher was really easy. I used Lighter on Bringer and Evelyn on Butcher, but on the robot, oh god, bro. I had to use Piper. It was a struggle. I barely got 20k. That was a struggle.
I think, to be honest with you, they've kind of prioritized like recent units in terms of like power. Yeah, like Miyabi obviously like trivializes the bringer fight, and then with the robot, if you have built Haramasa, he'd be great against it. But what I'd also mention as well is that like Yanagi came out only in 1.3. So what I did is I ran Yanagi against the robot, and I ran Miyabi against the first guy. And then I cleared. I think I shared a screenshot with you guys. I cleared the first 2 with just 2 characters on each one. So just Miyabi and Sakaku against Bringer, and then Yanagi and Bernice against the robot. I know it was fire resistant, but I just wanted her there for the disorders. And then it kind of gave me a lot of freedom on the last one. And I was also going to try and clear that one with 2 characters as well, but I couldn't do it. I ended up using the full Ju Yuan team with Ambi and Nicole. But if I had Qingyi, it might have been Ju Yuan and Qingyi. They might have been able to do it.
Yeah.
When it came to no, go ahead.
No, you're good, Jshoea. I already talked.
Okay. So I actually did a whole different approach because that's what most people would like naturally gravitate towards, right? You want your electric carry on a second stage with the AU mech, and then you would want that Julian team for Dead End Butcher. I actually put Julian on stage 2. And then I went and utilized the all or nothing buff for Dead End Butcher.
Who did you use
So,
for Dead
Yeah,
End
who'd you
Butcher?
use on that
Like
one?
what?
So I used who did I use? I used Jane crit.
Ah.
Yeah, because the all or nothing buff, I'm coming out with a more deeper breakdown of it. But like you can like it, and like you said, these 2 fights, the stage 2 and stage 3, are a little bit more difficult. But they bring a lot more variance. So when it comes to stage 3 with Dead and Butcher, you could approach it two ways. You can approach it with, oh yeah, bring your Qingyi, stun him as fast as possible, right? And then, continually dodge and gain your performance points that way. Or you can go into the damage option, and well, Juyen kind of works both ways because she can dodge to gain performance points. But the damage that I was able to outpour because of the all or nothing buff, I gained over 150. I think it is 150 crit damage from the all or nothing buff just by allowing him to not be stunned. So I think, as so far as the creativity from Deadly Assaults, not only just it being a mode to where like, oh yeah, okay, I need to bring in these units. Oh, it's so restrictive. I think it's actually much more creative in that way.
Yeah, I also think like
So I kind of want to toss that out.
with Deadly Assault in general, like because you don't have to clear all of the stages to get all of the polychrome rewards, you like I mean we're content creators, guys. Like we're doing stupid stuff. I'm out here trying to clear with like not full teams and stuff to get the rewards. But I think for most players, like even if you're not a day one player, even if you're more recent, it actually, to be honest, if you started in the Miyabi banner, you're probably still going to be catching up. But if you started before that, but you haven't been in the game since the beginning, you don't have to worry that much about clearing all three because you don't. The polychrome rewards are just tied to like 3-starring 2 of them. So that's pretty cool, I think, in terms of like a design decision, because you can also like if you had 3 teams that were pretty good, you could A rank 3 of them, all 3 of them, and then still get the 6 stars. Or if you have 2 teams that are really well built, then you can 3-star 2 of them, and then you don't have to worry about building your third team to get all of the rewards. So I think that's really cool. But yeah, I think Deadly Assault from like a design perspective is awesome because it kind of gives you a little bit of flexibility. Like, yeah, I know we're talking about 9-starring, but like with silly restrictions and stuff. But I think for most players, like you won't struggle to get the polychrome, particularly if you've been playing for a little while at this point. But remind me, Josh, what does the all or nothing buff do?
Yeah, so the all or nothing buff, it raises your crit damage by I believe it's either 25 or 30. I think it's 25% for every couple seconds that the Dead and Butcher's not stunned. However, the damage that they deal against you is increased by 10%. So it's a kind of high risk, high reward sort of buff, if you want to put it that way. And then it resets every time you stun the Dead and Butcher. So I was like, yo, this is so creative because it promotes those 2 different, paths to play to target this boss. And I was like, okay, I'm definitely gonna try out that the all or nothing, like trying to get 150 crit damage. And yeah, my performance points shot up by quite a bit. I like easily scored like I think it was like 45k, and like that was my very first attempt at it. I was like, all right, well shit.
Okay, well, I'm going back in, boys. I'm going to try and do it with 2 characters. I can do it, Nicole and Ju1. I'm calling it now.
Yeah,
because then I don't need Ambi.
like
I won't buff. I won't stun. Easy.
Wait, but doesn't the all or nothing buff increase your days? Like Del?
Oh, does it?
Pretty sure it does.
I don't know about that.
You have to double check.
Yeah, I'd have to double check. But
Alright,
no, I think the days increase was actually on stage 2.
Because if I could clear all of them with 2 characters, that would be pretty fun.
No, you definitely can, I think.
No, but the Deadly Assault this time around was the first time in all the patches for ZZZ, even 1.1, not 1.1, 1.0, that I really felt the elemental typing in this game. Ever since even 1.0, like I wasn't full clearing Shiyu defense the first 3 weeks. It took me like 5 weeks to get my first Shiyu defense full clear, like S rank. But still, like ever since then, I never really felt the typing. Like I just brought any of my DPS to pretty much any fight. Even the first Deadly Assault, I just used any DPS on any fight, and I didn't really feel like a difference. I was just clearing it. But man, oh man, this was the first time against that robot. I did not have an electric carry, and I was like, okay, I fucking feel this shit. Like Piper was struggling, bro. I never had a lock in that hard in my life. Dude, I got 20,300 points. One with 1 second left because it jumped from like 19,900 something to 20,300 in the last second. Like it took so many retries. I was like, okay, I gotta build an electric carry. Like this is the first time I felt this shit.
So are you gonna
Yeah.
build Haramasa?
I probably will now because, like, man, that was a
There
struggle.
we go.
That
He's a
was-
great character.
pretty cool.
He's so underrated. He's a fun character. I played through like all the trial things. You know, I was like, Josh, you got to go into those like trial things with an open mind. And man, I'm not gonna lie, like Haramasa's gameplay, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. I started an alt account and he's level 30 and he's just carrying that team. So I'm like working my way back through the story, and I wanted to try and get Miyabi before she goes on that account. And yeah, Haramasa is like, the more I'm playing him, the more I'm like, oh, this guy's actually fun as fuck. So yeah, I've been checking out some of R2's videos. You guys should check out R2's videos. He's a small content creator who's like a Haramasa main. We hung out with him the other day, but yeah, he's super cool. We'll leave it linked in the description.
Yep, he's cool.
Do we have anything else to say about 1.4? Obviously, 1.4 introduced the decibel changes where everyone gets their own alts. Maybe we'll just touch on that super
Yeah,
quickly.
they did, huh?
Yeah, touch on that super quickly. Now we're getting towards the end of the patch. How are we feeling that that's working for us?
It
I like
made a massive difference for my Lucy.
Oh yeah.
I properly built Lucy with a lot of crit rate and crit damage, and still got enough attack for her attack buff. And because I use her with Lighter, and Lighter is buffing the hell out of fire, like, you know, anybody who's fire on the team. My Lucy literally on her ultimate hit for 1.3 million like total damage, and I was like, oh my god, I could never play this game without the decibel change ever again.
Nice, huge. But yeah, like I think in general the decibel change has been really good. I think it's also made me mix up my play style a little bit, particularly with like the Juyuan team that I mentioned earlier. It kind of means that I have to spend a little bit more time on Juyuan, or what I'll do is I'll defensive assist into Juyuan more frequently, and then use her like follow up attack with that. Well, it's not a defensive assist with Juyuan; it's an evasive assist, so that she can build the decibels while the stun is going on. And it actually enables her to build decibels faster than it would as like a team basis. So you can basically ult like every stun window. But yeah, it's very cool. It's mixed up my playstyle a little bit, but I think it's a good thing because it means that you don't just stay on your stun unit when you need to stun and you're running an attack team. So yeah, it feels like a little bit more dynamic. I'm enjoying the decibel change. I'm enjoying seeing all of the extra animations. I'm enjoying the fact that we get to use supports. Like every support has been massively buffed by this. Like, yeah, Lighter, not Lighter, Kete. Kete was just talking about Lucy, obviously, but yeah, Nicole as well. Fantastic. Sukaku being able to use hers as well. Yeah, it's just, yeah, like I feel like everyone's. And it's also made the combat's like so much more fun. Like you can have like all of this shit just going off at once. You know, it's great.
I will say there's one character that has highly disappointed me with the decibel change.
Who's that?
And I'm not the only one. I think a lot of people feel this way. Because I don't have like I have like a M0 Caesar, right? Like most players do. Even when I put her on like a pretty good crit build, I think she had like 60 crit rate, 110 crit damage. I used her ultimate in Deadly Assault, the first rotation. And when the boss was stunned, I just wanted to see how much she could do when she had a Lucy buff and her own buff and all the like the drive disc buffs. I wanted to see how much my Caesar could do. And her ultimate's level 11. When I tell you, the boss's health, I could barely tell its health going down. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to use this for damage, right? Maybe it's for stun. So the second go around, I used it, maybe I can get like a quick, stun thing. Like, she's like a pseudo stun character. Yeah, that thing did barely any days damage. It was I was like, what in the hell is the purpose of Caesar's ultimate? If you're M0, what is the purpose of her? Like, just don't use it. What's the purpose of it? An extra iframe? Like, what is
Yeah,
the purpose
that's
of
where
it?
the weapon really comes in, like in handy. And like when I looked at her and I was doing like a little bit of theory crafting on her, I was like, damn, that like the weapon allowing her to gain the extra days increase and stuff like that, like almost turns her into that burst pseudo stunner. Not to the likes of the Lycons and the lighters of the world, but like, someone who, outside of the stun category, it's like surprisingly, quite effective, right? The support category, you barely see any stun potential, if at all, right? So Caesar was like, I was like, man, okay, I really, really wanted to go for that weapon. And I think, unfortunately to all the more purest of F2P and budget players, that's where you kind of see that drastic drop off.
Well, I
with
have
But
her
you
weapon.
have a weapon.
M1.
Yeah.
Oh, you
I
do?
I have her
What?
weapon, and it still did negative days damage.
So,
Grills?
suppose-
What's your impact? 170?
174, the max.
Heck?
Her ultimate
So
does
Caesar's ult is
barely any
trash.
days. Her
To be fair,
ult
I think
does barely.
it's-
Bro, you can literally go to my streams. I'm not joking. I had a
Did
60
it have a
rate.
shield though?
110
Did the enemy have
Yeah,
a shield?
we even tested it. Yeah, Shauna, we went to Shiyu because there was that one robot that has the shield, right? That's
Oh
annoying.
yeah, the electric one. Yeah.
Yeah, the electric one. So we were like, okay, there has to be somewhere where her ult's not complete garbage. I used it against him. There was barely a difference, bro. Her ult is just not good.
Oh.
It was just not good. I remember spending like almost an hour with chat just trying to figure out when is her ultimate good. The only thing I could figure out where Caesar's ult was good was like stopping like a really big attack from a boss, some bosses have like those attacks where like they charge up and it does a lot of damage
Because you get
like
the
those.
interrupt. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, you
Yeah.
get the interrupt. That was the only place I found where her ultimate was useful.
Mm.
Like other than that, it barely did any damage. My skills were leveled up. Like I said, she had good crit rate, good crit damage, max impact. Barely did any damage, barely did any days damage. I was like, wow, Caesar's ult is just not good. It's just not good.
That's so.
I'm
I mean,
actually
in
looking
an
at
era where in an era where she wasn't meant to ult, right? If you think about it.
Yeah, when she was released, I guess.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I guess Caesar's the big loser of the decibel changes. I guess I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
know.
even say even loser, because like nobody loses.
Yeah,
no one.
yeah. Because I mean,
Yeah.
the other two characters on the team are still going to benefit from that change, even if you're running Caesar, and then you can kind of keep her ultimate back in case you need to hit that interrupt. But like, yeah, I guess the reason I wouldn't have mentioned that when I was gassing everyone up about the decibel change is, as we've talked about, I don't have Caesar, so yeah, I wouldn't have known. But yeah, decibel change is good change. Shanna, we haven't heard from you on the decibel change though.
So first, just come back to Caesar. I just looked up her stats now because I'm busy doing my dailies. Her defensive parry has more days than her ultimate, even if they have a shield. I just checked now, like the multipliers.
so
Oh well.
But anyway, yeah, coming back to in general, like I made this prediction before, and I'm glad to see that it's coming through in that because there's this mindset of everyone can use the ultimate now, they're sort of making all the new agents have more impactful ultimates beyond just, big damage. Like Astra now has the whole heal and it adds the 2 extra chain attacks. Evelyn takes off her clothes, gives her that 1 extra point and stuff like that. So it's
I love the way you said
more
she takes
creative
off her
with the-
clothes first, by the way.
That was the first thing,
As soon as you press ultimate, that's the first thing she does in her little animation.
Yeah,
You
I'm
can't not
joking.
notice it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we're starting to see that they're getting more creative, at least with ultimates moving forward. Now that they have this expectation of, oh, they're going to use it, so we may as well make it good.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I also think as well, like as we move forwards, like you said, Shanna, I hope they continue to do that with the ultimate stuff. Like give them like a reason to use it beyond that like big hit of damage or days or whatever it might be. And like have it like be impactful into the fight moving forwards. Because it seems like with Evelyn, like it's once you've ulted once, like that's actually going to up her damage for like the rest of the fight. Like it's good because it's going to bring those rotations closer together when you can use her extra quick assist thing. So yeah, I hope they continue to do that moving forwards. Super hype, super exciting. Okay. We've kind of gone through everything that we had on the run of the show. I'm conscious, of course, that it's a little bit late for some of you. But is there anything else we want to touch on before we wrap up, boys? It's been a bumper episode, though.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad we could have had Jshoea on. We need to definitely get him on in the future. There's
For
a
real.
lot of other content creators we plan on getting on, and we're going to do losing the 50 more often. That was our New Year's resolution. We're gonna make sure we do this more often.
Yeah, I love the way that we didn't
Nice,
talk
boys,
about
nice.
that, but you just committed us to it. Love it, love it.
Yeah, we did. I
Yeah,
literally
we
told
did,
you
we did.
all the other day.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We should do it more frequently. We really should. Any other thoughts or anything else we want to touch on before we wrap up?
You're our guest, Jshoea. So I guess before you leave,
Yeah.
leave us. What's your plans for the future of ZZZ, man?
Oh yeah. You guys can probably catch me doing more variety combat content. I just came out with like a Bang Boo video on not is it Gulliver? Yeah. On Gulliver just dishing out like hundreds and thousands of damage. So I'll be doing like more variety, like niche combat stuff around that. And then you guys can also catch me on Twitch. I'll be doing a bunch of, story let's plays, account audits. And then I'm also planning on hosting I know we mentioned earlier about 1.5 co-op stuff. I'm going to be hosting a tournament around that. You boys are definitely invited. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. But
Let's
it'll
go.
be like a 40-person community co-op tournament. Lead like a
Ooh.
it'll be kind of like a round robin. I wouldn't use round robin, but like a leaderboard type of tournament because I don't think we can put everybody together in a lobby for the game mode. But we can at least get your guys like scores and stuff like that. That's what I'm planning on doing. So yeah.
That sounds fun. Cool, man. So should we wrap up? Tell everyone what we're up to, what we're doing. We'll come back to you in a sec, Jshoea. But let's Kete, what are you working on at the moment? Where can people find your stuff?
Oh, obviously check me on YouTube, Catch the Seventh. I'm streaming most days. I know a lot of people who are watching watch the newest Sokaku video. That thing is pushing its way at this point to probably get to like 40K views. So I appreciate the support on the Sokaku video.
Yeah,
we got a lot more content coming out.
Anyone who hasn't watched Kete's Sukaku video should definitely watch it. I've learned Sukaku tech that I didn't know about. It's very good. You should check it out if you're running Miyabi or if you plan on running Sukaku with Ellen. Definitely check out Kete's Sukaku vid. Super good stuff. Cool.
But yeah, appreciate the support and hopefully get a lot more streams going.
Nice. Shanna, where can people check out your stuff?
Check it out on channel on YouTube for all of your news roundup needs for Zenless Zone Zero in-game and out-of-game. And also, sometime in the future, I'm busy editing it now. Different video, I had my mother come around and rate all of the Zenless Zone Zero agents. So if you want to see the Asian mother's perspective on what is a good woman/man, come check out the video whenever that gets uploaded.
Awesome. That is so fun. I will definitely look forward to that. And Jshoea, where can people find you?
You guys can find me over. I'll be honest. I think I'm on most platforms. You guys can find me. What was that?
On OnlyFans as well, even that?
That's coming soon. That's coming soon. My
OnlyFans.
Twitch community is really pushing for that one. But you guys can find me streaming. I just started multi-streaming on the Twitch and YouTube, like legit, like 1.5 weeks ago. So, very excited to be doing that for Zenless Zone Zero. You guys can find me putting my shorts on the TikToks and the Instagrams of the world as well. And yeah.
Cool beans.
on this podcast too. I guess every now and then, hopefully.
Yeah, I guess just to wrap things up, like I've been Average Luck Gamer, and you can find me on YouTube and Twitch. I stream once a week, like guaranteed, but I am going to try and up that to twice a week. Beep. Anyway, but also you should like and subscribe to Losing the 50 as well. This channel where you have found this podcast either on Spotify or on YouTube, because then you'll get more of them because show your love, and then we'll make more of it. Ding. Okay. So that's it. Thank you very much, boys. Everyone say goodbye.
Bye.
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 Adieu.